Hey everyone, this is Matt with Learn Everything About Design, and in today's video we're going to make this little 3D printed gift box. You can make it as big or as small as you want, and we're going to design it so that it snaps together and you can't really tell that it's two pieces. And it's great to hide a little extra present inside, maybe as a stocking stuffer, tossing in some money or candies or something like that for kids. So the process is fairly simple. We're going to walk through it step by step. And if you want to just print this out on your own, you can also go to the description of this video. I'll include this design that already has it set apart. And if you print this with standard 0.4 nozzle with standard settings, it tends to snap together pretty well. So hopefully it works out well for you. So to get started, pretty simple. We're going to begin with a sketch on the top plane. We're going to use a center point rectangle, so R on the keyboard, and we're going to make it 50 by 50 millimeters. If you want to make yours bigger or smaller, this would be a good time to do it. You can also scale it up or down in your print slicer. Next, we're going to use an offset plane, and I'm going to do this 25 millimeters. So we're going to have a total of 50 by 50 for the overall size, but this way we've got a new sketch plane. We can create a sketch, and I'm going to project the center point, just P on the keyboard, and finish the sketch. Now we're going to select loft. We're going to loft from here to this point. We'll say OK. And then we're going to create a mirror. So we're going to mirror this body across either the top plane or its own section there. And this is our starting point. Now, it may not look like much, but it's pretty simple. We're going to select body, and we can either do a move copy or rectangular pattern or circular pattern, So whichever one you want to do, I'm going to select the pattern option, select circular pattern. And for my axis, I'm going to select the x-axis. We're going to do two objects, and we're going to do a partial. We're going to go 90 degrees. Now we want to take that copied object, and we're going to do another pattern, once again circular, this time about the vertical axis. Again, we're going to do partial, 90 degrees, two instances, and say OK. That is it. That is the whole shape. So we're going to select all of them and combine them together. So pick one and then select the other two to join them all together. We're going to do a chamfer. So box select and do a 1 millimeter chamfer. And when you're printing this, you do want to make sure that you think about using something like a Brim for extra support. In most cases, if you're printing it slow enough, it'll be fine. But if you are running it fast, like I am on my printer, then it can tend to knock it off that build plate. So now that we've got this as a solid object, what we're going to do is select split body. I'm going to split the body using the top plane. So hold down the left mouse button, say OK. And I'm going to hide this body and rename it top. And we're going to rename body 3 as bottom. Next, we're going to do a shell. I'm going to do this independently on both. So I'm going to make it 2 millimeters thick. You could do this at the same time if you wanted to, but oftentimes it's just easier to separate them and just do them one at a time, 2 millimeters. And next, we want to go back to the bottom. We're going to create a sketch on this face, and we're going to use offset. So offset the inside section here out a distance of 1 millimeter. So that'll be -1. And finish. Then we're going to extrude this little inside lip up 1 millimeter, hit enter. Then we're going to bring back the top. We're going to select combine, but we're going to use the cut option. So select the top body as our target. Select the bottom body as the tool, but make sure we keep tools, and we'll say OK. And that's pretty much it. If we go to do a section analysis, just pick one of these planes. I'm going to flip it the other direction. Basically what we've done is we've added the lip to the bottom, and we've cut that exact lip away from the top. Now, in most cases, when you're designing parts like this, you want to have a little bit of a gap. But what I found with a design like this is if you make them exactly the same size, they tend to snap together really well. It actually catches on the layer lines a little bit, and it holds together really nicely. So I keep them exactly equal. I don't have any offset. The last thing that we want to do is either export each one individually, or we could take the top one and use move, M on the keyboard, reset our pivot point to the middle of this edge, and then we would rotate it 180 degrees, and then we would just simply pull it away a couple of millimeters. At this point, all we need to do is export it to our slicer. Now, in a previous video, we talked about how the update to Fusion messed up our slicer export. They've actually fixed it, which I'm really happy about. So if you do save as mesh, it will remember to go to the print utility if you've already done that. For me, I'm using Bambu Studio right now with my P1S, and I'm using basically all the default settings with the exception of adding Brim. I found that I did need to add Brim to ensure that it stays adhered to the base plate. So if I zoom this in, and I take a look at my slice settings under support, actually under other, we want to make sure that the brim type is set to outer brim and slice it. So this just adds a little bit of extra support at the base there, slight overlap here, and everything prints without really needing too much extra attention. There's no supports needed, so the outside of this looks great. The inside does as well based on all the angles of everything, and I've printed probably a dozen of these things at this point. Based on your settings, it will print in about 45 minutes. If you run it faster, you can get it obviously sooner. If you make them bigger or smaller, obviously that has an impact. But this is a nice way to make just a small little trinket that you can put in, say, a stocking and just hide some little candy or something inside of it just as an extra little treat. I have printed a couple of these things solid without actually splitting it apart. So you can also toss in some decoys, ones that don't have anything inside them as well. So just a fun little thing to play around with on the holidays. If you use this, let me know if it worked well for you or if it didn't, or if you made any other modifications. So as always, thanks for watching. Hope everybody has a happy holiday season, and we'll see you in the next one.